internet. Hello, you absolute lovelies. We are, as of going live right now, in the midst of the AVENGERS assembling. This is the stare at the back of Chair's DMV of announcements that I hope ends in the most epic game of Duck Duck Goose in all the multiverse. But until we get there, we have stared at chairs for 2 hours, and I have a lot of stuff to do today. I was hoping to go live once this had concluded. I assume it's going to be ramping up to some big reveals, but as we have not gotten there in an hour and 46 minutes, I have it running alongside, so I thought we could share in this journey together for the next little bit, because I was out of town for 2 weeks, and what this channel and this particular show in this channel usually does is focus on the comics themselves, and I love talking about the comics, and I have 2 weeks worth of favorite comics to share with you. So if you're new to this page, I read about 50 to 70 comics a week. And on this show, This Week in Comics, I give you my favorite 9 from each week, and I try to make them the more approachable books as well. And then I also preview that week's books. With this big announcement, I thought it'd be a fun opportunity to have a big headline and then dive into the comics. But we are live experiencing the chairs together. So I thought while we're waiting between chairs, we could talk about the comics from the week of March 5th, as well as the week of March 12th. And then next week, after all my CinemaCon coverage, I'm going to be giving you guys hopefully the week of the 19th, and then the following week, the week of the 26th, and then we'll slowly be catching up, because I'm reading these comics in real time. And like I said, I read 50 to 70, so it takes quite a bit of time. So CinemaCon is next week. I so far plan to attend. I'll be bringing you guys lots of news from there, maybe some lives, but definitely lots of coverage. And then once I'm back, April, we'll catch up on all the March comics and all of the news, all while doing Daredevil breakdowns every episode. Last night at 7, I dropped both episodes 5 and 6 as separate videos, as well as weekly movie reviews on top of all the other stuff. So like I said, if you're new to this page, all of that is here. Movie reviews, TV reviews, lots of breaking news, soon to be CinemaCon coverage, lots of How to Train Your Dragon coverage to come that debuts at CinemaCon, lots of stuff. But first, I always answer every single super chat. I am going to be in the live stream so we can talk about what's happening live at Marvel, but also any of the news that happened over the last 2 weeks. I definitely want to talk about Colin Farrell potentially playing Sergeant Rock. How viable that is, I don't know. But I definitely want to make sure you guys get your super chats and Streamlabs answered. So I'm going to answer those and then dive into the comics from the last 2 weeks. So our first super chat is going to be from Destined. Thank you very much, Destined. I very much appreciate that. 2 hours just to dance around the inevitable. Jubilee returning and soloing Dr. Doom. Make it happen, Kevin. I mean, frankly, that is how I assume this giant circle is going to end is, you know, we're going to have 14 chairs if it's every 14 minutes, as it seems to be, or I've heard as many as 45 to 50 chairs. And then it's going to be a giant game of Duck, Duck, Goose with Jubilee tagging Dr. Doom, of course, Robert Downey Jr., and then spoiling the end of the movie here in this announcement. That does seem to be the inevitable Destined. I appreciate the super chat. I think that is obviously what's to come. We've also got one from Kevin Mandevil. Thank you very much for this very kind super chat, man. That is a beautiful, a very appreciated thing. Kevin Mandevil says, welcome back from the trip. If you could choose one new casting to announce today, who would it be? For me, it would need to be an X-Men of some caliber. I think it'd be really cool to maybe see, I don't know, we've got that pretty big rumor about Jean Grey. It'd be cool to see her name pop in here and then not have the confirmation, but to have the, you know, the name pop up. So perhaps that would confirm that she is in it, and then we can keep theorizing, because we do know that she's coming. The actress whose name escapes me for some reason, Sadie Sink. Sadie Sink is going to be in Spider-Man 4. We don't know as whom, so it'd be kind of cool if they did, you know, like a Sadie Sink name drop to further the excitement and hype while still keeping it mysterious. Also, the Denzel Washington rumors, I don't know how viable those are, but if Denzel turns out to be, you know, Magneto or someone, then this would be an incredible way to tease him being involved without actually giving anything away. So those would be some names I'd love to see. We obviously know Downey is Doom, which has been confirmed, but the rumor is we're getting a bigger announcement, or as big of an announcement as Downey. So that's what makes me think it's got to be like a Denzel or some giant name that we haven't already had confirmed. What's interesting is that this is the week before / week of CinemaCon. So I expect whoever they have announced is going to be at CinemaCon, and there's a reason for this being on the more tame side of announcement reveals. What's also interesting is that this, if it was every 5 minutes, and I don't know if there's a better way to do this. I like inventive reveals. I like that the entire cast is being announced in a way that feels important. But I think it would be still more important if, I don't know, we cut the time in half, if we adjusted, the Paul Rudd gag hit the music cues and then waiting 14 minutes and then moving chairs. Just, it cannot sustain us in, especially the way, we're being punished for being diehards that are watching this thing, and it's going to be a news article you can read in 30 seconds later. That's rough. And I think that's really got to be looked at. Is you want things to be inventive. You want things to be captivating. You want things to be like, man, I was there for that big announcement. But even at the end, the hour of the Hall H panel ending with Dr. Downey, that was the only thing people talked about, but it was still exciting leading up to that moment. There was still stuff shown. It was still building. And then that button, and that overshadowed everything, obviously, and has for almost a full year. But at the same time, I don't think it's smart to be talking about chairs and, my instinct of DMV jokes and Duck Duck Goose and all those things. So, all right, we're at Eben Moss McCrack, who is the thing. It's about to move. We just got the music. So join me live as we get our next name reveal in real time. This is the first one I'll be joining you guys for live. We have seen that we have Namor and Sue Storm together for the first time, which is exciting. We have seen Paul Rudd, Chris Hemsworth. We have seen Letitia Wright, which is exciting. And it's Simu Liu. We have Shang-Chi confirmed. We are getting Shang-Chi. So now we know yet another name that we probably had assumed before. I don't think there's been a surprise really in this announcement array. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if you go back, Chris Hemsworth was obviously the opener and obviously a huge flagship. To go from Chris Hemsworth into Vanessa Kirby shows that we're getting the Fantastic Four. We've only revealed 2 of them. Going from Vanessa Kirby, we went right into, I believe it was Anthony Mackie. So we've got the Captain America, the Thor of the original Holy Trinity, and then Fantastic Four, showing the scope of Avengers and Fantastic Four. So that was our order at the top. From Anthony Mackie, we went to Sebastian Stan, which brings us into our Thunderbolts. Now we've got the world of Thor, the world of Fantastic Four, the world of Captain America, again, OG Avengers plus Fantastic Four, and now we're adding Thunderbolts. What's tricky about the Sebastian Stan one is it does show us that he lives through Thunderbolts, as is the Wyatt Russell one. Some of the fun of the Thunderbolts is the stakes of potentially losing these characters, and that being the last time we see them, even though, no one's really dead in comics, but it does feel that Thunderbolts should be something we don't really touch until after the movie comes out. And it is about 2 months away. So I'm a little bummed. I thought Sebastian Stan, if we lost him, that would be a big impactful moment. Now we know for sure we don't, because he's going to be in Doomsday, and I'm sure there's going to be time travel. I'm sure there's going to be stuff, but still, having Sebastian Stan confirmed and Wyatt Russell confirmed, to me, is a bit of a negative just because of what the Thunderbolts is. Letitia Wright was after Sebastian Stan. That obviously brings us our Black Panther world, building out this giant universe, showing the scope of what Doomsday is going to be. Again, if this was every 5 minutes, if this was done in a slightly different way, would have been a little bit more impactful, I think. Hearing the Black Panther, hearing the Wakandan music was exciting, though. So, and then from Letitia Wright reveal, we had that funny visual gag of going into the Paul Rudd little tiny chair. This has been the funniest visual for me. That's why I used it. I was going to do the Vanessa Kirby and Namor combo. His name, Tanak Huerta Mihaya. I'm so sorry. I do not know how to pronounce that name. I was going to do those two and then me in the center for the thumbnail, because I do think having Sue Storm and Namor in a film is going to be amazing. I'm really curious how that dynamic goes, but the visual gag of Paul Rudd I still think is the funniest one. So then we obviously bring in Ant-Man. So now we've covered kind of that first phase 1 and 2 minus Guardians of the Galaxy and minus obviously Iron Man. So that is kind of covered. That leads me to wonder, are we going to get a Ironheart or a War Machine? Are we going to get that third of the Holy Trinity in its new legacy character? All right, we are then going from Paul Rudd, like I said, over to Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell does confirm, seemingly he makes it through. Tanoch Huerta Mija is, I think, the biggest surprise. If there was a surprise of these, it is the confirmation of Namor. But again, he didn't die or anything. Like, so it seems like, yeah, that makes sense. Him maybe being on the side of good is exciting. Eben Moss McCrack thing is, you know, fantastic. I think that's one of the best castings of them. And then now, most recently, Simu Liu. The music was, I think, on my end, I was scrolling through the thing, so I apologize if you got excited, and that was because of me. But that is where we are now. We are currently, as of this moment, sitting on Simu, confirming phase 3/phase 4, bringing in Shang-Chi, and that is, I think, the biggest gap that people wanted to be shorter was Shang-Chi 1 into Shang-Chi 2. Daniel Destin Cretton has obviously moved on from doing Shang-Chi 2 and the Kang Dynasty film to doing Spider-Man 4, and then hopefully Shang-Chi 2 afterward. I'm not sure what's going on with Shang-Chi 2 as of this moment, but he did such a great job. I'd love to see him still do Shang-Chi 2 just after Spider-Man 4, and then obviously Kang Dynasty has since become Doomsday. I do still wonder, you know, with Doomsday being our introduction to Downey Jr. in a big way, I'm sure he's in Fantastic Four in some capacity. He should be. But it is interesting to see. What I thought was going to happen is Kang Dynasty would be a full film with Kang as like our big bad, and then at the end Doom would take him out, and that'd be like a power scaling mechanism to show how powerful Kang was, and then how much more powerful Doom was by having that whole film go that way. With it just being Doomsday now, I'm really curious how we kick off with all these characters and Doom in this way that feels natural and like it works. I want to thank Kem in the super chat line here in the live stream. Thank you very much. Your first super in a live stream. I appreciate it being this direction. Kim, thank you very, very much. Thank you for throwing in just a moment of silence and appreciation. What I think they need to do now at this point is a TV name or two. I think we need to have something that feels, you know, impactful in a surprising way, right? Like Tanoch as Namor is probably the biggest surprise we've had so far. I assume we'll get Tom Holland, but I'd love to see a John Bernthal, a Charlie Cox, you know, I'd love to see Kristen Ritter, but I also, if they do that, I think it'll, you know, ruin any surprises if we got her in season 2 or maybe later in season 1 of Daredevil. As of now in Daredevil Born Again, we do not have any defenders. It'd be cool if we got them coming into Doomsday, but if they put the chair with them, that would reveal it. So I think D'Onofrio or Cox or Bernthal, it'd be cool to see one of their chairs. Like I said, I do think we get a Tom Holland announcement. I'm curious, live chat, let me know in the chat who you think is next. Let's play that game while we wait for the next name. It should be any minute now. It's been, I think, almost 10 minutes, and it's been about every 14, which is why I'm thinking maybe it's 14 chairs. I'm not sure how many it's been so far. The live chat saying Mark Ruffalo. I do think that one's pretty safe to say. We have not had any Hulk movement. I would say he's probably the safest bet. I'd love to see, as I said before, Don Cheadle. Let's see. Also, Dominique Thorne. So Ironheart, I would love to see. Are you able to get up on screen? I'm not. I don't have any technological skills. I literally just pressed live stream, and I'm using my laptop and live streaming. I don't have any skills whatsoever. I do think they need to give us the last few names should be not yet announced names. They need to end this in a big way. So that's the thing we talk about, not us talking about the fact that it's 10 a.m. and this started at 8 a.m. and we've just kind of gone through the motions here. Amon Villani, I would love to see. I think that's a great one. Tatiana Maslany would piss off a lot of people, but I really would enjoy to see her back. Oscar Isaac would be fun. That's a great TV pull. Monica Rambeau would be great to see. I agree with that. Moon Knight or Helena, Wanda, Brie Larson. All right. So yeah, I think Denzel is obviously my big crazy pull. Werewolf by Night would be amazing. Man, I'm big old fan of that. Apparently, according to Christian's live stream, Christian Harloff's live right now, who I do Keeps and Cowls with on Fridays, he heard from Jeff Snyder that there's going to be 45 names, which 45 names at 14 minutes a pop is 45 times 10 is 450. 45 times 4 is 180. 450 plus 180 is 550 plus 80, 630. 630 names divided by 60 minutes is 10 and a half hours. At 10 and a half hours, this would be over at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will not be here then. I was going to wait until this was over to do the live stream so I could have whatever the big finale was going to be. But again, it does seem implausible that I will be sitting here till 6:30. I have plans that I moved from 10 a.m. to noon. Couldn't move them anymore. So at noon, I got to go. So I'm just going to keep kind of track of all that. Yeah, 3 days later. Quick maths. I hope the math was right. Maybe. Kim, thank you for watching this so we don't have to. I am trying to be here for the people, doing our best. Liz Olsen just said yesterday she was out, but ever since Andrew Garfield was the ultimate werewolf, who knows? It could very possibly be, listed. That'd be kind of a bummer if she just denied it and then immediately was like, whoop. I think Deadpool would be in the last 3. I think that would be like, one of those big moments. I think Benedict Cumberbatch feels like akin to the Mark Ruffalo, where it'd be like, well, that makes sense. Like, I think you'd do a big name and then a Mark Ruffalo, a new surprise, and then a Benedict Cumberbatch. That's what I would do. I think it'd be awesome to see Mahershala Ali. I love that. That'd be, fantastic. People texting me their own, experience of this. I'm trying to keep like the internet track of how people are feeling, but so far, boy, oh boy. All right. So while we wait on the next name, again, people watching this in the replay, Simu is our current name up on the thing. This is a show I love to call This Week in Comics, where we break down our favorite comics and have conversations, especially in the comments. I love when you people get in the comments and we make this like a comic book store and talk about your favorite things that you read these weeks, as well as what you're looking forward to most. So I'm going to do my favorite comics from the week of March 5th while we're waiting. Then we're going to do the Colin Farrell story, and then we're going to do the comics from the week of March 12th. And hopefully by then we have at least 2 more names. We will see. So first up from the week of March 5th, you lovelies, my favorite comics from that week. Kicking it off with Birds of Prey. Number 19 looks like this. That's the cover. Very consistent book. Overall, really enjoying these specific characters getting their time to shine. Really enjoying this team and their dynamics. The fact that it feels like a team. It feels very X-Men, My Hero Academia, the Claremont era of X-Men where they're using their team dynamics. This feels like that, but with characters that aren't usually on a team. Really enjoying Black Canary leading them. Big Bard as a delight. Good to see her in a team dynamic. Really, really enjoying Birds of Prey. Next up, Fist of Khonshu, the Moon Knight book that's out right now that finally brought Mark Spector back. Loving him having a bit of a love interest here. Loving the mythology and all the dynamics going on there. Really enjoying the overall feel of the mythical elements of Moon Knight while also being a fantastic action book. Next up, we've got Vertigo imprint over at DC. So glad to see Vertigo back. We've got James Tynion IV, The Nice House by the Sea. This is the sequel to The Nice House by the Lake. I will admit, we are 6 issues in, the end of the first arc, or nearing the first arc, and it's not quite as strong as Nice House by the Lake for me, but it is still one of the best horror books coming out right now. Nice House by the Sea, a damn good time with issue number 6. This is one of my favorite books of the last 2 years. This is my favorite story of her to date. It is the solo Poison Ivy book. Poison Ivy number 31 dives into a new arc, diving into the mythology of the Green, still dealing with her great supporting team of characters, including Solomon Grundy. Obviously, Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationship is a factor here, but this book is so consistent. I'd go back to issue 1. G. Willow Wilson has been absolutely killing it on this book for 2.5 years now. Adore this book. Poison Ivy, highly recommend. One of my highest recommendations in comics right now. This is a fun one because it dips in and out. This one isn't always as strong to me, but this issue was particularly good. Sam and Twitch Case Files number 11. This is a beautifully illustrated book by a guy who does a bunch of great indies at Image, written by Todd McFarlane, and it's a cop procedural book with Sam and Twitch in the world of Spawn, but without Spawn. It's a cop book dealing with lots of craziness, but not the mythical stuff. It seems like we're about to hit another name. Are we moving? Hold on. We got music, folks. Eyes peeled. Music is coming up. I hope that doesn't, get me a trademark thing. I'm going to turn, I don't even know how to turn the music. All right. Who we got? Next up, Florence Pugh. More confirmation of obvious Thunderbolt survival. Florence Pugh does feel like another name that seems obvious. I mean, you need your core, and she's our Black Widow. She's our White Widow. Now we know she survives Thunderbolts. She has been a very vocal, outspoken person for the MCU, which I really appreciate as an actress in the MCU, saying, you know, this next Thunderbolts feels like an A24 film. She seems to really love working on these movies. I'm really happy to see Florence Pugh getting her time in the sun in a full-on Avengers film. This is exciting. But another one that is a bit expected, I would say. So yeah, now they've got their Thor, they've got their Captain America, they've got their Black/White Widow, they have their Ant-Man, they have, you know, they don't have an Iron Man yet, but they've got a lot of the key essentials to feel Avengers-y. So, all right, that is our update over on the live stream. Going back to the comics, I just gave you guys Sam and Twitch case files. Next up, from the week of March 5th, this was the first week of March, back a bit. I read a lot of comics and I was out of town. We have Secret Six #1. This is a really fun book over from DC. It's #1, so it's very approachable. This is a lot of the supporting cast over at DC getting a team book and kind of elevating their profile a little bit. It's really cool to see Superman's son and his relationship going strong. It's really cool to see Deadshot in a different role. It's really cool to see some characters that I don't know that well on a team. So Secret Six, really digging, kind of in the fallout of all the stuff that happened with Waller, that big summer event / fall event last year. All right, next up is a tiny little indie book that I feel like needs some more love. It is a 9-issue miniseries, The Tin Can Society, #6. This is a really cool take on the Iron Man mythos. This is a really fun play on the idea of a billionaire that uses technology to solve a physical malady. In this case, he has like a spinal condition, and they build a suit, and he gets murdered, and there's a giant mystery around that and the technology therein. Really cool take on an Iron Man type, and this one ends in a big old twist. Issue 6 and 9, really, really big fan of it. We got 2 left from the week. I give my top 9, and then I make a little grid over on Patreon. If you guys want, like I said, I read about 50 comics, up to 70, depending if I'm rereading some old stuff. But I give you my top 9, all my favorites, but I list every single comic I read and a letter rating: A+, A minus, B+, B, B minus, down to F, but usually it's like C minuses and up, over on Patreon. And my Patreon is like $5 and up. You can throw whatever you want at it. Starting at $5, you get access to everything every single week of comics. I also letter grade all the movies I saw and TV I saw. So I rate monthly movies and TV, and then weekly. It usually takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to get caught up on rating them all on the Patreon itself. But if you want to see the comic that I didn't love as much, or anything beyond this top 9, check out my Patreon. Like I said, it's like $5. But the 9 grid is because I'd post that image of those covers over there on Patreon. Next up in the 9 is Two-Face #4. This book is surprising the hell out of me. Really enjoying the art. Really enjoying the storytelling, but it's giving Two-Face like a bit of psychology and a lot of fun analytical study of his psychology while being a really cool action story. Really digging this Two-Face book, and it's only 4 issues in. And the last of the books from the first week of March is the Ultimates #10, ramping up the big multiversal story that set off this new Ultimate Universe, and dealing with a lot of really politically charged commentary on the world we live in and the world this set of characters live in. The Ultimates has been a beautiful commentary on revolution and uprising and what it means to be a hero. Big old fan of this title right here, Ultimates #10, to conclude my favorites of the week. So overall, these are my favorite 9. Like I said, we got a little 9 grid. That's why I do 9. These are my favorites of the week. We got Birds of Prey, Fist of Khonshu, Moon Knight, Nice House by the Sea, Poison Ivy, Sam and Twitch Case Files, Secret Six, Tin Can Society, Two-Face, and the Ultimates are my favorites of that week, the 5th of March. I'm going to give you guys my favorites from the 12th of March after a little bit of super chat check-in. All right, we got Jen. We had, guys, a bunch of super chats. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it dearly. From Galagos, Boston's own Galagos. Good to see you in here, man. Did you watch Harley Quinn season 5? My wife and I are constantly laughing and sharing files. LMAO, Brainiac this season was amazing. I watched the first 3 episodes because we had the showrunner of this season on DC Studio Showcase. You guys can check me out on your HBO Max and YouTube every other Friday over on DC Studio Showcase. Very proud to be doing that show. Lots of big stuff coming up, and some stuff I'm very excited to announce in the coming weeks. But that was the last I've seen of it, because that was months ago setting up for the interview, and I've been so busy. I'm behind on every show. One of my favorite shows on TV is Wu-Tang: An American Saga. I've seen the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season aired 2 years ago. I haven't even watched the 3rd season of one of my favorite shows on TV. I'm so far behind on everything. So finally caught up on Severance last night. Gonna watch the Bill Burr comedy special tonight. I hope to catch up to Harley Quinn by 2027 or so. But there's so many shows that I'm covering for work and for fun. Jen Fripps, and I'm glad to hear you're loving it, man. I'm very excited to watch it when I get a chance. Jen Fripps, hey, Coy, it's been a while since I've been able to catch a live. I hope all is well. I hope Elizabeth Olsen returns. Wonderful to see you in here. Thank you for joining on a live. I haven't done a live since the 6th. So actually, that wasn't that long ago. 20 days ago. I was gone for 15 days. So I'm proud of getting back in here with some quickness. And I didn't let the page go dry by doing all the Blu-ray stuff. But I haven't been live in a little bit. Great to see you in here. I very much appreciate the super chat. I'm hoping we get Elizabeth Olsen, but I do doubt they will pivot straight from, like, her statement was literally, I think, this week of her saying not likely, but also the quote seemed to be a lot stronger out of context. Her actual thing was like, that's not why I'm in London. She could very much be in it, but the internet was like, she's not in it, confirmed. Destined back with another super chat. It's possible that Wyatt and Sebastian could be playing alt versions from Robert Downey Jr. Doom's timeline, where evil prevails and Doom is ruler of Earth. Absolutely possible. It is very tricky to be in a spot with variants where that might undermine the death. Like if Sebastian Stan dies in Thunderbolts and then a variant of him comes back at Doomsday, it will still undermine the death to me. If the next movie is like, what up? I'm a different one. So I would still consider these names being confirmed in Doomsday as that character. Whether or not it's a variant, it's going to feel like, well, that the impact of a death is not gonna really matter. And that's my big problem with the whole Downey Jr. casting in general, is comic books as a medium are a different suspension of disbelief and plausible deniability than a movie and an actor you equate with a role. And I think Downey Jr. not only is equated with Iron Man more than any other role, but especially in the MCU, we're going to be like, well, that's an Iron Man. And it's not going to feel like the Reed Doom dynamic, which is so important, or like, I want Doom to get his time to shine. So likewise with, Sebastian and Wyatt, I hope the impact of whatever happens in Thunderbolts gets to be important with the knowledge that they are, in fact, in Doomsday. All right, going to quickly check out the chat here and then dive into my Colin Farrell excitement on Sergeant Rock. People talking about Hush 2. That drops today. Very excited about Hush 2. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee back for the sequel to one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. Also, Absolute Batman and Absolute Flash. I have not read yet, but those dropped, I believe, last week. I'm reading comics tomorrow from the 19th, and then while I'm at CinemaCon, I'm going to be reading comics from the 26th. People ask a lot how I read my comics. I get mailed comics from a lot of the publishers. I read some digitally, the DC Universe Infinite app. I love physical comics, but sometimes I have to read them digitally when I'm traveling, but all sorts of ways I read comics. Absolute Flash and Manhunter, I'm very excited as well. Two-Face run, bummed it's ending as well. I'm loving that people are loving it, though. Got a chance to be glorious. Doing well, Richard. Thank you very much. Let's see. Lone Wolf X6, thank you very much for the super chat. Lone Wolf. Coy, how powerful is Khonshu? Who is he compared to? Well, he's a god, so I'd put him up there with, like, Bast, I'd say. I'd say, like, mythical level, like some of the elder gods in Thor, like huge, power set and zeitgeist shifting power. Khonshu's a beast. So I'd say like Bast and those figures there. Let's see. Nico with the super chat saying Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League was peak. Definitely recommend reacting on Real Rejects since you and John did the first one. Enjoy the rest of your week, Coy. Loved that first reaction. Had a blast doing that with my boy John. If I remember correctly, my friend Yuri voices in that. I think Yuri's in the Batman Ninja. I would love to. I think as the DC universe ramps up, we are planning on doing more DC animated reactions. It's all about like what's being searched, and therefore, we need people to be looking for the stuff. And I think once people are looking up the DC characters' names a bit more, that'll help us do the reactions to those again. I'm not sure how many more we'll do, but I do think we're planning on doing some more, me and John over at Real Rejects at some point, hopefully starting this summer. We will see. Thank you very much for the super chat and the kind words about it. All right, let's talk Colin Farrell potentially. This has not been confirmed, and still James Gunn or Peter Safran says it. I don't believe anything is in stone, because even the biggest outlets will sometimes misreport because they hear it. They're like, that must be true. We will see. We're about a minute, I believe, from another chair reveal. But in the meantime, Colin Farrell potentially being Sergeant Rock has me so excited, because unlike the Downey Jr. Doom thing, the amount of makeup on Colin Farrell makes him actually unrecognizable. I don't personally think they'll cast Downey Jr. and keep him behind the mask. However, Colin Farrell does not show up on screen when I see the Penguin. So it's really tricky because it feels hypocritical. But to me, Colin Farrell as Sergeant Rock will not feel anything like Penguin. And I love the opportunity for Colin Farrell to play such an important character, such a vital part of the greater DCU. If they do some tie-ins to Creature Commandos like they did with that flashback, if they do anything to build out the DC universe by making, a gritty war film, like, a Saving Private Ryan or something in the midst of their supernatural stuff, you can have a $40 million Swamp Thing alongside a $200 million tentpole, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, alongside a war film from an incredible, esteemed Oscar director. And Colin Farrell is absolutely the right guy to cast for that, because then you get the above title name recognition. You get all the things you need to sell a movie like that, but then you can sprinkle in the occasional name dropper character and have people go, whoa, this was a DC Studios film. This ties into that world. That's what I want the DC universe to do, is feel like different genres that expand out even more rapidly than phase one of Marvel did. I think competition from DC is going to make Marvel stronger. And I also think a lot of the things Marvel did, like walking, is allowing DC to run and sprint with it. So I think a Sergeant Rock film is fantastic. The director of Challengers, amongst other incredible things. Colin Farrell is one of the best actors working today. He is so versatile. He's so interesting. I've been excited about this. If you watch my reaction to Creature Commandos over at Rejects, I lost my mind when Sergeant Rock appeared. It's one of those classic DC characters from way back. Love the idea of Colin Farrell playing him. Love the idea of a smaller budget war film, growing things out. I really think this is exciting. So I hope it ends up being true. I know a lot of names have been courting the overall process. I think they also have supporting names starting to get bandied around. I'm sure we're going to get confirmation sooner than later. But for now, personally, very excited about Colin Farrell as Sergeant Rock potentially. All right, that is going to end that news story, because we are live, and I think another one is coming. We are about to move a chair. Kelsey Grammer. All right, so there's our first X-Men confirmation. We got a OG X-Men from the world of Fox confirmed, and that means that universe we got to experience in the Marvels will at least be incorporated and involved, potentially giving us what I think all assumed was coming, which is the Fox characters that did not appear in Deadpool will be waiting in the sidelines to do a giant melee. Like, you need to save something for Avengers, right? Like, you need something to be bigger than the multiversal awesomeness that was Deadpool and Wolverine. Makes sense to save some X-Men. I think this is a really smart move. And I think it's also smart to announce this X-Man first, because we have canonically seen the comic accurate Beast as voiced by Kelsey Grammer in the Marvels. So this feels like basically a blend of, a known quantity, but also a surprise in confirmation. So I like this. This is a good first X-Man to confirm. This does give me some excitement. This does build a little hype. This is kind of like the Namor name drop. Like, Namor was surprising, but immediately logical. This one, immediately logical, and we have seen him in the MCU, but it does feel like all of the X-Men cameos we did not get in Deadpool and Wolverine could be viably brought in here. I'd expect a James Marsden, hopefully a Halle Berry if they actually, write her well. I'd love to see, a Famke Jensen. I'd really personally love to see some X-Men First Class get some love. So this is, I think, a really smart first X-Men name. I agree, justice for James Marsden Cyclops, and I'm going to add justice for either Storm, just Storm in general. Would love to see that. Okay, so that was our newest name drop. One of the biggest ones. I'm glad we got to experience that live together. Kelsey Grammer confirmed cast list for Avengers Doomsday. All right, moving back into the super chat, and then we'll keep an eye on this X-Men Avengers crossover that could lead to a big event down the line. Next up, we've got Lone Wolf X6 back in here. Lone Wolf, thank you again for the love. Can we get a real Rejects reaction to Severance? I've already seen it, so not from me. I also know that Apple is not the biggest numbers as far as reactions, so that would be a Greg question. It's an exceptional show. It's one of the best shows on TV, but I've already seen it, so I can't react to it. So that's above my pay grade and out of my hands. Destined. The last chair is going to be Chloe Grace Moretz being announced as Gwenpool, who cheers on whilst Jubilee solos Doom in Duck Duck Goose. Trust me, Destined and I are on the same page on this giant circle of chairs idea that's going to end and culminate in a big, big old moment. At first I really hated this 14 minutes apart thing, but now I'm realizing like we're going to have a full day of news announcements. It's literally going to be like 6 p.m. and I'll just be checking my phone for the next announcement. They're literally going to have a full day of news announcements. The 14 minutes is pretty insane, but what a way to just conquer an entire day's news cycle. And then we'll see what happens at CinemaCon. This is actually, I still don't love the 14 minutes apart. I don't know what I would do differently. I'm not in PR, but I just got a little moment of this is literally going to be the rest of my day. And I think that's possibly a good thing. Someone in the chat asked if I knew it was 45 chairs. I don't know how many chairs it is. I think, there are going to be people that think they know. I don't know how someone would know, but maybe that, is accurate. I don't know how many chairs there are. We will see. 45 chairs is crazy. Looking forward to, is it 12 minutes apart? I thought it was 14. Either way, it's quite a bit of chairs. It's quite a bit of minutes in between. Quite a bit of crazy. And a full day news cycle is exciting. All right, so Kelsey Grammer, like I said, that does softly confirm Fox X-Men and that whole thing I assumed was coming. If you're watching in my Deadpool and Wolverine coverage, I basically said I thought they took them out of that story in order to put them in Avengers 5, whatever that looked like being. And then by Avengers 6, we were going to have every Marvel person, the other people that didn't make it from the Fox cameos, Sony characters, TV. I think they're going to go really crazy. So that is exciting. A confirmed Kelsey Grammer is exciting. That does say quite a bit. All right, let's go over to the comics from the week of the 12th of guys, there's 387 of you guys in here. That means a lot to me. So I appreciate each and every one of you being in here. I know there's a lot of people going live right now. I might, depending on the scope of the announcement, still make a video. But know that Greg and I's show that we do, the Real Reject show, the long form pod, we're going to be covering all this on Friday's episode. So we film that Thursdays. It drops Friday bright and early. Know that we'll be covering it, but 400 of you watching means I might come back later. Who knows? This has been fun. There's 200 likes out of 400. So if you guys could hit that like, that'll help the algorithm, help find people later. And again, I will not end this till I hit every single super chat. So I'll be back in there in just a moment while we are discussing Destin's great pitch for this game of Duck Duck Goose that he and I are co-writing. I'm going to dive into the 12th of March and my favorite comics from that week. If you're just joining, I cover comics in this channel. I read about 50 and I give you my top 9 from every week on this show. This is what This Week in Comics is all about. These are my favorite comics from the week of the 12th, starting with Absolute Superman number 5. This is the penultimate issue in the first arc. This is a big old action-packed issue. It has a lot of really fun stuff with this alternate universe Peacemaker. A lot of really fun stuff growing out from what is building with the conflict between Superman, but mostly it is a flashback issue dealing with Krypton. And I really liked that this Kryptonian mythology and build up and everything feels as impactful as it does. Really enjoying Absolute Superman. Sorry, issue 6. This is the big, flashback conclusion, tying in a lot of stuff. And this ends in a really fun cliffhanger way, setting up the next arc with a certain town we all know well being introduced. And I really think that's going to be a lot of fun. Big old fan of Absolute Superman, top to bottom. All right, next up, Aquaman number 3. This is tying in some dark side goodness. This is tying in the anti-life equation. This is bringing some scope. I'm really digging this new Aquaman. It's only 3 issues in. Starting with issue 1, they're really trying to incorporate a new power set in a really fun way. Just overall, big fan of what this Aquaman is doing, and issue 3 is delightful as well. Next up, we got Batman and Robin number 19. I really dig this villain. It is someone that is akin to Scarecrow. Scarecrow is a part of the story, but using trauma and horror and fear in a different weaponized way has been really fun and exciting. I love the Damian Wayne dynamic in this entire run. I love the Batman and Robin father-son dynamic they're playing out here. Really fantastic, top to bottom. All right, next up, we have a screenshot of a couple tweets. We've got a screenshot of the screen. All right, next up, we've got Batman Dark Patterns number 4. This is a really dope title that is a horror book that is finally growing out to its own new series. I thought it was going to be a mini series, but they've changed artist and it still has the same tone as issues 1 through 3. I would recommend reading 1 through 3 because it was exceptional. Introduced a great new villain that was very Fincher-esque. This one starts a brand new arc and it's actually making Ventriloquist a very viable threat. Really fun. This use of the building is fun and genius, plays with mythology. Really just Dark Patterns is one of my favorite Batman books in a very long time. Next up, we got an indie book in the Ghost in the Machine imprint over at Image. This is Geiger, one of my all-time in the last, in the last chunk of time. Image has been killing it with new characters. Geiger, though, feels like immediately impactful to comic books. Like, this feels like a Silver Age character for today. Like, a very immediately iconic, classic storytelling, wonderful comic book goodness, written by Jeff Johns, illustrated by Gary Frank. Absolutely incredible book, Geiger. I thought Spidey would want to say hi, so you guys get a little Spidey Cat moment. Spidey, how you doing? All right, there we go. Spidey Cat vibing. There he is. Also, Doomsday shirt for the Doomsday announcements. Didn't plug that earlier. This is from Box Lunch. Big old fan. All right. We've got Hell Hunters, number 4. We are diving into the World War, I believe, I Ghost Rider and him teaming up with a young Bucky Barnes and Wolverine and all sorts of characters I never thought I'd see together hunting the undead. And it's so fun. Just such a fan. And I really did not expect anything from this book. But to see these characters, the dynamic is so much fun. To see them just like murking undead Nazi punks. Just great top to bottom. Big fan. And then in my top 9 for the week of March 12th, another Ghost in the Machine book. This one's going to be Red Coat number 10. This one's had some romance. This one is a fun flirty dynamic with our guy here. This is a character who is immortal and has lived since the Red Coat era, but he's not the greatest. Simon Pure is not pure. And I love the romance dynamic. I really enjoy everything they're doing with Ghost in the Machine. Both these books are fantastic. And I think that might be all the ones that made it over to my phone. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are 8 and 9? All right, I'm going to tell you guys what 8 and 9 are verbally because they are for some reason not on my iPad. Sometimes the iCloud just simply doesn't want to. And then our final 2 are going to be Void Rivals number 27. That is from Robert Kirkman. That is the Energon universe. It is really cool, new IP blending into the world of Transformers. It's just a dynamic book top to bottom. And then we've also got X-Men number 13, which I am really loving. Beautiful art and great story that feels classic X-Men. It is dealing with a manhunt. Juggernaut's awesome in it. Lots of fantastic X-Men moments and characters and great team dynamics, which I love in my X-Men. Great post-Krakoa stuff written by Jed McKay, who wrote the hell out of Black Cat for a long time. Now he's on Avengers and X-Men. Fantastic book. So that's X-Men 13's cover. And then this is that Void Rivals cover from Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead and Invincible. But in the Energon universe, new characters blending with Transformers. Fantastic stuff, top to bottom. Those are my favorite 9 books from the week of March 12th. They were, once again, Absolute Superman number 6, Aquaman number 3, Batman and Robin, Batman Dark Patterns, Geiger, Hell Hunters, Redcoats, Void Rivals, and X-Men. It looks like that, you lovelies. And that is going to do it for the books I'm recommending this week. I think we got a new name coming up here in just a moment. Let me get back to live. Okay, we're still not moving yet. but ears peeled. It could be any time. Okay, we got music. I'm going to pause my comic-y stuff for just a moment. It's stringy. Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch. Is it? Or is it going to be Benedict Wong? Who's it going to be? Oh, mine froze. It is. No, what a time to freeze. I'm going to find out from you guys. You guys can tell me. Is it Lewis Pullman? Is it the Sentry confirmed? All right, well, I guess we get to keep Sentry after Thunderbolts. Marvel had a big old problem in the beginning killing off their villains, but now we are not doing that because the villain of Thunderbolts, Bob, has made it to... You know, I'm actually surprised by this one. This is the first surprise. This is a confirmation of Lewis Pullman, Sentry, in here. I really hate that my computer froze right at this moment, but here we are, Lewis Pullman making it over to the insanity of this experience. He is in Doomsday. I now believe there are going to be 45 chairs. I do truly believe this is a full day of news. Oh, everyone froze. Okay, well, that makes me happy that we are all trapped. The lag was in the stream. Okay, I thought I was just tech illiterate. Thank you, everyone, for making me feel better. I was like, why is this happening at this moment? Lewis Pullman gets the dramatic void taking over of his stream. The void took over and it said, no, we're going to pause right here. Lewis Pullman, the Sentry / Bob. Sentry's an interesting character for me because I want to like the character more than I do. I'm not a big Sentry guy, but a lot of people I know and respect love the character. I'd love if the MCU made me like him more. Very excited to see what happens with Lewis Pullman over there. That is our newest name, confirming he makes it through Thunderbolts and also bringing in a villain into this big old casting announcement for Doomsday. Very, very excited. So those were my favorite comics from the 5th, from the 12th. Those were the last few chairs. I'm now going to give you guys the comics I'm going to be checking out today, the 26th of March. I still need to read comics from basically the 19th. But I will be letting you guys know as soon as I can when I'm going to do another live. As I said, I might jump on a live later on, but not likely. I have a very full day. Today's crazy, but maybe tonight, if there is something absolutely insane to cover, a slim chance I can move some stuff around. But I'm going to read you guys my favorite comics from the week of the 26th, and then I'm going to check the super chats again. So if you guys have any questions, get those in there. But I'm going to read you guys the books I'm going to be picking up today at my local comic shop. I do recommend, if you guys want to support comics, that is the best way to do it, is to actually go to your local comic shop. That helps the comics out the most, and that helps the small businesses that support these magical books out the most. All right, for the week of the 26th, the books I'm going to be checking out are Amazing Spider-Man number 70, which is Spider-Man as Juggernaut, which is absolutely insane. The site is cover price, by the way. I love these guys. They're a price guide, and also they cover the new stuff coming out in real time. Amazing Spider-Man 70, Daredevil number 19, Deadpool versus Wolverine Slash 'em Up number 1, Doom Academy number 2, Doom's Division number 1, Fantastic Four 30. Lots of great Doom stuff in this one world over Doom going on. Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four number 1, Incredible Hulk 23, Infinity Watch number 3, Laura Kinney Wolverine number 4, Illuminati, a Illuminati Deadpool book, Illuminati number 1, Red Hulk number 2, Rogue the Savage Land number 3, Star Wars High Republic Fear of the Jedi number 2, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker adaptation number 2, Thunderbolts Doomstrike number 2, my big book of the week, Ultimate Spider-Man number 15, immaculate book, so excited about it, Ultimate Wolverine number 3, also excited. Uncanny X-Men number 12, also excited. Weapon X-Men number 2, Wolverine Revenge Red Band number 5, X-Manhunt Omega, hard to say, number 1, and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 4 in the continuity of that incredible animated series out this year. Those are the books I'm picking up from Marvel. Books I'm picking up from Image this week are going to be The Department of Truth 29, one of my favorite books on the shelves. Very excited that is back in action and still incredible. Falling in Love in the Path to Hell number 7, Feral number 11. We've also got Knights number 14, Radiant Black number 32, and those are the main ones I'm going to be checking out. Over from DC Comics this week, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 1. Stoked for that. We've also got Absolute Wonder Woman number 6. Adoring this book. Excited for this next arc. Biggest book of the week for me, Batman Hush. Batman Hush 2 is here with Batman number 158. Jim Lee back on Batman. Jeff Loeb writing. Elated. Also, your boy's face, DC Studio Showcase in the back of this book. I'm honored to be part of Batman Hush in that way. It's just surreal. Like truly honored. I'm going to pick up the big oversized one. I'm going to have that next time we film one of these to show you guys. Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, number 6. Black Canary, Best of the Best, number 5. The Flash, number 19. Green Arrow, number 22. Green Lantern, number 21. Harley Quinn, 49. Harley Quinn, Fartacular, Silent but Deadly. You heard me. Justice League Unlimited, number 5. Metamorpho, The Element Man, number 4. Kicking off the first comic shared universe in the DCU is Peacemaker Presents The Vigilante. That is illustrated by Mitch Gerads, written by Seeley, and that's in DCU canon, which has me excited. Power Girl 19, Superman 24, and Wonder Woman 19. Lots of incredible books from DC this week. And then we've got over from, let's see, Dynamite, we've got Terminator number 6. And then from IDW, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, number 23. And then from Boom Studios, Red Before Black, number 5. Those are the books I'm going to be reading this week, the week of the 26th, the absolute lovelies. All right, we've got some super chats to get to. Let's see. Scrolling back up. Lots of love in here. People excited about Lewis Pullman. People excited about Spidey Cat. People excited about the live in general. Lots of goodness. You guys are fantastic. Big old fan of this chat. Like, you guys are fantastic. I really do appreciate you. Mr. Eli Mack, good to see you in here, man. Mr. Eli Mack saying, I think this is an interesting way to announce the cast. Also, hey, Coy, it's great to make it to an actual live. Hope you're having a great day. Eli Mack, what an angel. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the kind words. It is wonderful to see you in here as well. I don't get to do lives as much as I like to, but whenever I get the chance, I am so happy they all work out. So I appreciate you being in here, man. And it's a great way to run the entire day's news cycle. I truly thought like crazy zeitgeist breaking news announcement at 8 a.m. would be like from 8 to 9. An all day thing. I think I'll look back on fondly. Right now, I'm like, what a crazy way to do it. I totally agree. Absolutely insane. All right. John Tyson can't watch live because of work, but wanted to throw some support in real quick. What's an awesome Punisher book? John, that's so kind. You're not even in here and you're showing some love. Thank you very much for the super chat and then for jumping in to do that. Personally, I love the recent Punisher book where they changed his logo. I love the flashbacks building out his backstory. I loved the art. So yeah, 2021 or 2022's Punisher is a fantastic run. I'd also say Punisher War Journal from the 90s. I would say anything from Steve Dillon. The artist Steve Dillon made some iconic runs on Punisher. I checked some of those out. All right, we've got Lone Wolf number 6 back in here, crushing it. What are your thoughts on Hope Summers? I'd like to see her live action. Any chance we ever get Nocturne, Blink, or Sage down the road? I like Hope Summers. I think I liked her story in the beginning more than I liked where it ended up going. I felt like they ran out of ideas of what to do with her. But in the beginning, I really liked that Hope Summers storyline. Be cool to have her. That's way down the line, though. That is a legacy character for sure. Nocturne, not likely. Blink, I could see. Sage, I could see. But again, those would be like world building, down the line legacy pops, or like fun cameo for comic fans. Be like, oh my God, I can't believe they included her. So yeah, I can see those characters popping up down the line. Eli Mack, what has been your thoughts on Ultimate books outside of Spider-Man and Wolverine? Spider-Man's my absolute favorite. Wolverine is good, not as good. I really like Ultimates quite a bit. I think the rebellion and fighting guerrilla style underdog element has been really cool, and what the book represents. I'm not as big in the X-Men book. It just hasn't captured me. It's like 12 issues in. Black Panther, I'm like half and half on. I really love some issues, and some I'm like, eh. Spider-Man, A+. Overall, Black Panther, like B. A- for Ultimates. X-Men, C. Wolverine, B-ish. B-. Joshua Hugo, welcome back, Coy. Hope you enjoyed your vacay. I did try sending a piece of fan mail your way. Hopefully it made its way there. I sent it to Armada with attention to you. Fist bump. Amazing. So one of the things I was doing on my vacation was my manager at Armada Partners got married. So neither of us have checked the P.O. box because he got married at Disney World. So I was there to see him. But now that I'm back, very excited to go pick up things from the P.O. box. I will keep an eye out and buy the next, maybe not the next live stream, but the one after that, because I think he's gone another week. I will absolutely be checking that out. Thank you very much for that, Joshua. I will keep eyes peeled and definitely try to get to that ASAP, and I will let you know on one of these live streams. Thank you. Destined, circling back to my first super chat, how integral would you say Jubilee is? She's my favorite, and I feel she doesn't get enough respect put on her name. First of all, appreciate the multiple super chats. This is Destin's 20th super chat on this page, according to this little YouTube algorithm. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate the consistency, the kind words, and the Jubilee love. I think Jubilee's great. I think they often don't know what to do with her, hence her becoming like a vampire and all those things. But I think just the badass teenager that loves them all and has powers that are not traditional and still managed to be cool and dynamic is a fantastic character. I don't love her as much as like new rock stars, but I really do love Jubilee. I think she's a fantastic character. And I would love to see more of her. But like my priorities are like Storm and Cyclops getting their flowers, but I think Jubilee is absolutely worthy of getting some actual screen time and moving and grooving. I hear music. I think we're about to get another one, and then that might be the last one for me. I might wrap on out of here with this last one. So we are currently on Lewis Pullman. We are moments away. We're going to find out who is next on this list. We've done comics from the last 2 weeks. We've done next week's books. And now we've got Danny Ramirez. We've got the Falcon himself. Danny Ramirez is confirmed. So we've got both Captain America and the Falcon coming off of Brave New World, swinging into Avengers Doomsday. Danny Ramirez, the Falcon, he's coming out of Top Gun and going right into Doomsday. That is a dude working. Happy for him. That is very, very interesting. Hey, I'm stoked for the guy. I think that is going to do it for this live stream. There are 300 of you still in here. Thank you all very much. You even stayed through the comic books, even if that wasn't your cup of tea. So I appreciate that very much. I hope you enjoyed my coverage of 5 of these names coming at us every 12 to 14 minutes or so. Wanted to give you guys my overall thoughts. Don't have a lot to say about Danny Ramirez, except for like his Falcon is fun. I'm not sure what kind of dynamic he'll have with the overall team. It'll definitely be through, Captain America 4's story, but through our Captain America and through Anthony Mackie's journey, and I'm curious how that ties into the Avengers. Will he be the de facto leader? Will Danny Ramirez be like supporting him? What's going to happen there? We'll find out. That is going to be our last name. Please, you lovelies, hit that like while we're in here. Also, please leave a comment below. Let me know of those comics if you've read any of those. If you're looking forward to any of the ones I'm reading this week. If you're curious what I thought of blank, let's have a conversation in the comments below. As of 10:42. What name has you most excited? I want to see it in the live chat before I get out of here. What name has you the most excited? And what name surprised you the most? I want to see those in the live chat, and then I also want to see them in the comments below. If you're watching this not live later on, leave a comment below what you were most excited by, most surprised by. I would also love, if you're not a subscriber, I do a live stream a week when scheduling allows. I also cover movies. I cover TV shows. I cover lots of news. I'm going to be covering CinemaCon like crazy. So those are all the things coming at you from this page. Daredevil coverage was last night. Lots more to come in all sorts of ways. Beast, excited. Beast, Kelsey Grammer's exciting. Sentry, Namor, surprise. So Sentry, Beast, Namor. All right, so those are the names we got so far. And Spidey Cat says he appreciates each and every one of you for being here. He's going to nap it off. He's going to keep an eye on the next chair in 10 minutes or so. And I am drinking Premier Protein. I'm a big fan of the coffee one because I need caffeine to stay vertical, and I'm doing my best. I want to see Denzel announced. That's who I want to see. I also want to see some new names I'm not expecting. I'd love to see an X-Men cast name, but not announced, like just the name, and us go, who was that? I'd love to see a couple actors who we don't know who they're playing get announced. This is a rare opportunity of showing a name and us not knowing who they're playing. So I hope they start doing that as they get into the later names. I hope they give us some surprises without any context. We shall see, you lovelies. But either way, that is going to do it for this episode of This Week in Comics, covering the beginning of March. I'll be back as soon as I can for the end of March's comics, and maybe later on for some names that we hopefully see. I'd love to see Bernthal. Sadie Singh could be fun. We will see. All right. Much love to each and every one of you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you very, very soon. Oh, we got another super chat from Lone Wolf. Just want to say you're awesome. Love your work. Thank you for the last minute super chat of love and appreciation. Right back at you, Lone Wolf. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for the love to everyone in the chat. That is going to do it. Like, subscribe, hit that subscription bell. Lots more to come. Another Blu-ray video is dropping later this week because I'm going to be traveling to Vegas for CinemaCon. So my J video is going to be dropping, as well as tons of other stuff. I'm going to try to go see A Working Man and get that review up as well, because A Working Man comes out Friday. So I did see The Studio and I loved it. The first 2 episodes of The Studio, absolutely adored. Don't know if I'm going to have time to film a review, but I hope to. That is actually going to do it. I will see you all very, very soon. So much love. We'll see if these are 45 chairs. I think we're at chair we're at what, hour 3 at 12 minutes, if that is accurate. That's 5 chairs an hour. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So we're probably at what, 13, 14 shares. Let's see if this goes all day. All right. Much love, you lovelies. Good luck. Hydrate through this chair announcement. The DMV of casting announcements continues as we stare at the back of chairs. I really think I'm going to like this idea in hindsight, but in actual like beginning, what a crazy way to have an entire day news cycle. All right. Much love. See you guys soon. Bye.